of an eye.
Yeah.
When pushed to their breaking point, humans are capable of astonishing things that you would never thought of possible.
Yeah.
Listen to In the Wild as they explore the most heroic, terrifying, and phenomenal stories of real people who survived the unsurvivable. Learn what went wrong, what went right, and how you can make it out alive if the worst case ever happened to you. In the Wild podcast reviews on Apple include Love Your Podcast from Laura. It's scary how relentless nature can be. I always enjoy this podcast at work. It keeps me on the edge of my seat. Or how about we go with Hiker 0001? Good stories and good narration. I like when there are sound effects that add to the ambience of the story. In the Wild podcast on Apple Podcasts and everywhere you get your podcast downloads.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading edge topics along with special guests to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Are you on?
Yeah, we're good. Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology News of the Week, the show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology with a little whiskey on the side. I'm Nathan Mumm. Welcome to our show today. We live stream during our show on 5 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch TV, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to watch us live or visit us online at techtimeradio.com. Tweet us today during the show at #TechTimeRadio, and we'll do our best to respond to the tweets on the air. And you can also check out our new TikTok channel by looking for Tech Time Radio on the TikTok app. I'm your host, a technologist with 30 years of technology expertise, working for Fortune 500 companies across the country. My co-host here, Mike Raday, is an award-winning author, originally from Arizona, but we don't hold that against you all the time. Mike is a human behavior expert.
What's that supposed to be?
Well, just saying, from Arizona, a transplant. Human behavior expert living in the Seattle area with a master's degree in forensic psychology. Mike helps keeping me from geeking out while providing an insight into human behavior and how it interacts with technology. We're two friends from different backgrounds, but bring the best technology show possible every week for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. Welcome, everybody, to the show today. Let's get ready to start the show.
Now on today's show.
All right, are you buying property for a place to live in the metaverse before the market explodes? Do you have your house yet taken care of, Mike?
I don't buy virtual stuff.
We're going to be talking about this. This is a very interesting market. Now is the time to be buying your house and your land in your metaverse environment, all right?
Yeah,
All
okay.
right. Then we're going to explain what Mastodon is as people are moving away from Twitter to this new platform. But there needs to be some clarity because it's not as easy as you think. Next, a Microsoft misstep, as the latest ad test might have you running towards a Mac. Then James Riddle joins us and answers a few questions on new technology that hopes to improve either lung cancer detection and maybe robotic systems that could transform prosthetics. Finally, we have Gwen Way back to talk about a new gadget and gear and a little update about her last gadget and gear, as this story has unraveled, kind of like an Elon Musk Twitter article.
Why are you making that exclusively her?
Well, I'm just saying, it's a great story to talk about.
Oh, okay.
All right, this week, the technology fail is all about a failed firmware upgrade. In addition, we have our standard features, including Mike's mesmerizing moment, this week in technology, and a possible Nathan Nugget. As always, we have our pick of the day whiskey tasting during the commercials to see if our selected whiskey pick of the day gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up at the end of the show. So sit back, raise a glass, and welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Now it's time for the latest headlines in the world of technology.
What's happening in the world of technology? This is our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
All right, story number 1. Twitter users jump to Mastodon. We have our world reporter with an update on this story.
And And this week we have Mastodon gaining an enormous amount of users after the acquisition of Twitter by a certain, let's say, divisive billionaire. The platform gained almost 200,000 users in the day following the announcement that Elon Musk has completed the purchase of Twitter. If by any chance you don't know about Mastodon, it's basically Twitter, but built on the Fediverse model. You can create your own instances, and these can be federated to be linked to other instances, which lets you basically stick to communities you want to interact with, a specific hobby or a specific topic, or you can use it just like you would Twitter.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So you're lost. I saw you kind of shook your head there going, what the heck is going on? So let me talk about it.
First off, I don't know what Mastodon. I've never heard of Mastodon.
Well, Mastodon is huge right now.
Is it
now,
huge?
They don't do things like tweets. They do things called toots.
Toots?
So instead of when you tweet something out, essentially as you end up doing Twitter, it tweets out.
If it wasn't called Mastodon, I think it would be something else.
Okay, well, they're called toots.
Toot.
So essentially your toot gets replied to, it gets liked and reposted. You can follow people.
It's not something you smell.
No, it's not something you smell. No. But it's very interesting because it's attracting so many people, and it's so confusing to sign up for.
Is it really, though? Is 200...
So it's increased 500% just since Elon Musk has purchased
Are those
Twitter.
Significant numbers?
Well, they have a lot of
Twitter.
high-end individuals that are moving to this. So you got a lot of celebrities that are moving to this. You could see maybe a Kim Kardashian or some of those people saying they're not going to want to be on Twitter anymore. And this is kind of the platform that's going to be kind of out there. Now,
I kind of doubt that.
Now, let me talk about it. There's all these servers. So they had that big word federated, right? So what this means is you can create. Okay. You're thinking Kevin Federer? Is that what it is?
No. I'm just like, we all have these names for.
Okay, so here's what. Think about it as a bunch of servers that are all connected together. Remember when you used to have...
Like the internet.
Well, no. Remember when you used to do this illegal thing called Napster and you used to share files?
Yeah.
So you loaded this application on a machine. Mm-hmm. And what happened is your hard drive ended up opening up and sharing out all of your music that you had to everybody on the internet, right?
Okay.
This is the same type of deal where everybody is a part of this large network, and you can just host up servers and you can take down servers, and they have servers with specific subjects that you want to talk about. So if you want to talk about sports, there's one that's sports that is specifically gets all your feeds that are sports related. Or if you have one that's music and you want to talk about music, you get all your feeds in there. But you can go across groups just like you could in Twitter, and you can follow people with hashtags.
Instead of having one Twitter, it's like having a whole bunch of little Twitters.
That's exactly correct.
That they're called toots.
Well, but when you post something as a toot. Now, Mastodon.online is the general server. So if you have mas.to is their second server, and mstdn.social is their third primary server that's out there that you create an account on and you join. And then what you can do is just like anything else with hashtags, you can essentially follow people. Now, let's say you wanted to follow TechTime Radio on Mastodon. You would essentially look for the hashtag, same as Twitter, which is the £, right? Hashtag TechTime at mas.to, because that's the server I sign up for. Now, if you try to find Nathan Mumm, I signed up for this really early when it first came out about a year ago, and you'd have to find me at hashtag Nathan Mumm at mastodon.online because I'm at a different server. Does that make sense for you?
It doesn't matter if it makes sense to me or not.
Okay.
What matters is how complicated that sounds.
So it's very complicated to sign up for. But this is very much like a dark web. This is how the communication.
This is the dark web Twitter?
It has a lot of similarities to how you communicate on the dark web. So it is a very standard format to set up for and to communicate back.
So how many people jump to Mastodon to toot about Twitter?
Well, they have over 3 million users.
Oh, just 3 million.
Well, that's not a lot, but it's not. You know what? People are looking for alternatives. People are jumping. This got big news on CNET.
Hey, we got to wait until Kanye does his thing and buys whatever platform he's going to buy. And
it's very much like a bulletin board service. Instead, though, of just having the limited tweets.
You should have said that in the first place.
Okay, it's like a bulletin board service.
Because I'm from that era where initially we would get online on bulletin boards.
Okay, but instead of, you can't go and write a huge letter on the like a bulletin board service you could. You're limited to your post to only 500 characters.
Okay.
Where Twitter has 280, this is 500 characters, so it's almost double that amount. But you can still post MPEG files, you can JPEG files up to 8 megabytes in size, and you can put MP3s, MP4s, all the way up to 40 megabytes. So you can put video, music, and pictures posted on it, and it stays on the platform itself.
Okay. Are they aware that mastodons are extinct?
Well, we had a little lecture about this before because somebody would have lost a bet pre-show.
It doesn't matter if I was going to lose a bet or not.
Mr. Miller will attest to that.
All I'm saying is that they're using a term that mastodons are extinct, right?
Well, okay. Story number 2. You're up, buddy.
Okay. You know, you like Zoom, right?
I do like Zoom. Why?
Well, I know when before the pandemic came out,
yep,
you were very much not liking Zoom.
I did. I wrote them a nasty letter.
You wrote them a nasty gram because of their security features. There was all kinds of things, and then you flipped over because the pandemic forced them to create different protocols, which
they boofed at their security. I wrote the letter to them. Their vice president of networking engineering contacted me.
That's pretty cool.
So it was pretty cool. And he gave me updates for like months after on security updates they were doing.
Well, that's good. So what do you think about having a Zoom call in a movie theater?
A Zoom
with
call?
75 of your buddies.
In a movie theater?
Yes.
Why would you ask that?
Well, because apparently AMC Theaters is partnering with Zoom to bring meetings to a theater near you.
What?
Absolutely.
Isn't the whole idea about having a Zoom call that you can be remote?
Well, apparently you can now be remote in a movie theater with your buddies and get concessions.
So you're going to have a big corporate meeting?
Zoom Rooms at AMC aims to offer a movie theater experience complete with snacks and refreshment to go along with your meetings. AMC Theaters has partnered with Zoom to transform select movie theaters into enormous video conferencing Zoom Rooms. This came out on Monday.
Okay.
Which was yesterday.
Wow.
The service is designed to offer companies with decentralized workforces and customers a way to bring people from different markets together, quote unquote, for cohesive virtual and in-person events and meeting experiences.
So I'm going to go there for a corporate meeting. I'm going to have my big boss up there talking, and I'm going to start throwing popcorn at him.
I don't know. You can't go to an AMC movie theater in your pajama bottoms.
You sure can't.
So,
or what if you could decide that you some people don't even like.
I feel like this is sort of like a desperate attempt to regain some of the stuff they lost during the pandemic.
What, AMC? They need to get more people
in
the theaters, so you're going to go do a Zoom meeting?
I don't know.
This is a dumb idea. This should be a technology fail.
This might be a fail. My first reaction to this was, okay, that seems like a dumb idea. I certainly can't understand why I would get 75 people that I work with to go to an AMC theater to have a Zoom call with someone I don't work with.
It doesn't.
I don't know how that.
You're going to make me laugh now. I'm going to start coughing.
You're going to start coughing.
I'm going to be all over this. All right. Well, I guess.
Well, but you can have popcorn. I mean, it could really make for some really interesting meetings.
It could
with your
with your boss or some big global event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just throw juji fruits at the
So what happens when you
screen.
start putting filters on and you start putting, because I like the filters you're putting on.
I'm not a cat.
You're not a cat.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
At any rate, if you're interested in this, Zoom Rooms at AMC is slated to launch sometime next year across 17 major U.S. cities.
All right.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Zoom
calls. All right.
Coming Zoom to a theater near you.
Oh, you like that? That's a marketing play. All right. Billions have been spent in the metaverse land grab. We're going to check out with our tech expert, David Brash.
The latest big real estate market isn't on scenic coastlines or in major cities. It's in the metaverse, where a growing number of investment firms are spending millions to acquire digital property.
Owning land now in the metaverse is a little bit like buying land in New York 250 years ago.
Metaverse real estate isn't all that different from property in the real world. It just exists digitally in 3D cities where users can simulate real-life pursuits like shopping, playing games, or attending virtual concerts.
There are houses that you can walk into, there are shops that you can go into and buy things. And this real estate in the metaverse is increasingly for sale.
The idea behind investing in digital land is that once you own it, you can make money by developing virtual property and leasing it out.
They're going to require from technology an experience that's 3D and immersive.
I think that my age has finally tipped the balance of what I find acceptable for human people.
Why is that? How it's $2 billion?
Are you serious?
Spent,
really?
I'm dead serious. $2 billion were spent in the last 12 months.
You know what? I invested in real estate online. You know what it was called?
What was it called?
The Sims.
The Sims?
Yeah.
Well, here's what you got. Voxel is one of dozens of the virtual worlds that describes themselves as a metaverse. Now, metaverse is confusing because people only talk about the metaverse with
that's because
Zuckerberg, because he got that name Meta.
Yeah, that's because Zuckerberg wants to pretend like he owns the entire virtual life.
Correct. But until one platform starts to dominate, there are desperate worlds joining together, and companies are selling land and experiences on their own versions.
I'm not sure how you can compare this to owning land in New York City years ago.
Well,
because isn't digital sort of mean that it's expansive and
well, hang on here. Researchers at Metaverse Analysis, the DOP Radar, said that $1.93 billion worth of cryptocurrency was spent in the virtual land this past year alone, with $22 million on the spend for this upcoming year.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about it.
So,
$22 million is going to be spent in this upcoming year on virtual space. So this is what happens. You create a virtual world where everybody can enter in at a certain place. And when you enter into your certain place in that mall, if you're closer to the mall than everybody else, you can be seen by everybody as you walk through. So companies, and huge companies, Nike, Coca-Cola, Adidas, technology companies are all buying Intel, are buying these virtual workshop storefronts in these virtual worlds and paying premium dollars.
Yeah, I get that.
There's a condominium in Voxel that essentially sells right now for $50,000 real money to get yourself a complex, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit that's close to the center square.
Okay, what am I going to do with a virtual bathroom?
Well, I don't know. I guess you got 2 of them, so I guess
I
you can be in one and your virtual buddy can be in the other one.
Yeah, my Sims, they do that on their own, and it's really fun watching that all happen and play out and how they interact in that virtual environment. But me living in a virtual environment through, I don't know, augmented reality, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, there might not be virtual land available if you don't jump on soon, though.
Doesn't matter. I'll just raise a virtual army and I'll take over.
You'll take it over? Okay, well.
Isn't that what we usually do for
so you're a little surprised
real estate?
You're really surprised on how much was spent, aren't you?
No, I'm not surprised. Okay. I'm just disgusted.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, well, that was the end of our story. That ends our top stories for this week. Up next, we have our segment, Ask the Expert with James Riddle. We're going to be back in a moment. You're listening to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's happening?
Did you know for every $1 spent on email marketing, you receive $36 in return? That's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
But it's all so complicated. All those advanced tools and features, you don't know how to approach them at all.
What if there was an email marketing platform where you don't have to rack your brains to get started? A tool that's not overloaded with unnecessary features you don't want to pay for, and, believe it or not, has a support team available 24/7, even on the free plan.
There is a solution, Mike. Let me introduce you to Sellzy, a tool that makes email marketing as easy as 1, 2, 3. With Sellzy, you can launch your first campaign in 15 minutes. No coding required. A very easy to use, intuitive email builder with over 300,000 gifts and stickers to choose from, and 500,000 plus free stock images, a customizable countdown timer, and more. Create emails for any business goal, from e-commerce to nonprofits. Easily create automated email sequences for your your business.
Get 24/7 support via chat, email, and phone, even on the free plan. Sellsy has just launched a special deal. You can now get a lifetime access to all Sellsy features for just $49. All the core features, unlimited emails, automation, segmentation, advanced analytics for the price of 10 lattes.
Sellsy is the easiest way to start selling with emails. Try it now. Click the link in this episode description on TechTime Radio to get that special deal.
No commissions or hidden fees.
To learn more information, visit them at the simple and easy site to remember. Just go and visit Sellsy.com. That's SELZY.com. The easiest way to send emails. Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Tech Time Radio is our weekly hour technology show that talks about current technology in a simple format without having to geek out. Brought to you by myself, Nathan Mumm, and Mike Corday. We just had our first whiskey tasting during the break, and now let me tell you about what we are sipping in our pick of the day. Today's show, we have chosen the Lismore Single Malt Whiskey, 80 proof, $26.95. The website states that the whiskey is from the Speyside region of Scotland with all the classic qualities of the region. Robust but also delicate, the fine balance of flavors combine to make this a malt whiskey, distinctive in both taste and character. Sherry, spice, and floral aromas and the flavors dominate this malt gentle Scots, specifically selected mixture of 12 hand-chosen single malts. This is undisclosed aging, but under 6 years. We got 80 proof. The mash bill is 100% barley. And Mr. Gourdet, I think you actually added a little bit more during the break.
We don't need to talk. We don't need to talk about.
Okay, so what do you think so far about this?
I'm not going to say.
You're not going to say?
No.
Why is that?
Because you just outed me right here on radio.
Well, Lismore's pretty good though, don't you think?
So far?
Okay, yeah, it's pretty good. It's good stuff. There's a reason why this bottle is already halfway drinking before our show started.
Yeah. Did you do that before you got here to the studio?
A friend of mine gave me this bottle, and this is very good. We did sip it a couple many nights ago. So there you go. All right, well, now that we got our whiskey out of the way, we have our medical and technology expert, James Riddle, joining the show. James is the Vice President of Research Services and Strategic Consulting at Advera. Let's welcome James to our video stream to start our next segment.
This is a segment we call Ask the Experts.
All right,
James.
Hey.
James, welcome to the show today.
Hey, when I tell you what, when I buy my metaverse apartment, it's going to have 5 bathrooms, not 2.
He's going to have 5 bathrooms, not 3 or 2. So he's going to be better than us.
Does that mean it's going to fit like a glove?
It means I can virtually go wherever and somebody's going to come virtually clean it up, right?
That's right.
I don't know. I don't know what that looks like.
I don't know. But hey, let's tell you, James, you better get going because some of these metaverse areas now, you're going to have to buy a property all the way out in the sticks.
I have to ask this question.
What's that? I did.
Yeah.
Yes,
I did. See,
yes,
I didn't even have to. How much have you bought so far?
I have a 5-acre lot.
Okay.
What? And I haven't built anything on the house because I have to buy my own.
You have to buy the house.
Yeah, you have to buy currency in the deal to buy the house, but I have a lot.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm gonna get on.
So
WoW.
if you need
get
to
on WoW and mine gold and
then you're gonna transfer
it and
okay, all right, okay.
whatever.
All right, James. Okay, so for those that are new to the show, tell us a little bit about your background and why you enjoy so much joining us on Tech Time.
So my background is in research. I've been around doing human subject research type activities since the latter part of the 20th century before we had metaverses. And I just thoroughly enjoyed the idea that we can conduct experiments, look at what's going to work better for us, improve our lot in life, and just advance medical research forwards. And so I like being on the show because we get to joke around about stuff, and it's fun to read these articles and stay in touch with what's going on out there in the world of technology.
All right, so let's go to story number 1. So I had James and I communicate an email. I do all this, right?
Yep.
So I sent him a bunch of stuff. And I sent him something this morning. I said, let's talk about that. And he's like, oh, my gosh, I haven't even researched this yet. I'm like, okay, you got 4 hours. Let's go, buddy. But I'm not going to ask you about that, James. That's for next time. All right. So here's what we got. We got advanced new sensors could transform prosthetics and robotic limbs and pioneering a project to develop advanced pressure sensors. Tell us a little bit about this and what this research is doing.
Yeah, so this is really, really cool in the world of prosthetics. If you think about your traditional prosthetic, it's designed to support you, to physically be able to grab or maybe to just tug or to latch onto. But we've all seen movies of places where they've got really sophisticated prosthetics, Star Trek, Star Wars, etc. Well, there's a group of researchers over in Scotland that have figured out how to integrate this really sophisticated 3D pressure sensing technology into a prosthetic. So you can, for instance, grab a pen and you can put your fingers on it, the prosthetic fingers, and you get the sensation of the pen coming back to you through the prosthetic, which is going to enable people to not just have prosthetics to get by, but to really improve and potentially even be at some point better than the real thing, as far as strength, etc. Because while you can have really sensitive touch in the prosthetic, you can also build in things like crushing something that you wouldn't normally be able to do with just your own regular human bone and flesh. So really exciting early stages, but the advancement in prosthetics has advanced a lot in the last 5 years, and really encouraging results to see these new materials being integrated into the prosthetics to help folks who've lost a limb or have some other kind of disability or injury.
Okay, so just think about this. Any avatars coming out soon,
Oh,
right?
I'm already thinking about it.
It would be nice, because that's the one thing that must be very difficult. I don't know, because I don't have a limb that has been severed, and I have that. But when I punch the wall or I hit my hand with the hammer or anything like that, and I get pain in my hand, that really hurts, and it kind of sends a signal back, even though it may be a painful item. There's at least that sensory there, and if you have a prosthetic, you probably don't have that ability. You don't have that ability to get that same feedback.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay.
I think the most interesting piece is that's, with this technology, somebody can pick up an egg and it will feel
like an egg.
Well, not feel like an egg, but if they're getting sensory reception back that says this is a fragile object, then they will equate to the pressure that you're putting on that object.
That makes sense.
Our sense of touch is very
important.
Attuned to that.
Yep. All right. Next question that we have here for you, James. We have a new stamp size ultrasound adhesive device that delivers clear images of the heart, lungs, and other internal organs as MIT engineers develop ultrasound stickers. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah. So first of all, the folks at MIT are just flat out brilliant. They're very, very bright folks. And if you think about, you watch a TV show, somebody goes in and gets an ultrasound that they're pregnant, right? They've got the little device that they squirt the jelly on the lady's tummy, and they kind of rub the device around, and you can see the kiddo inside, right? Well, they use ultrasound for lots of things. They use ultrasound to be able to see organ damage. You can use ultrasound to be able to see inside various aspects of your body. It's not just for the seeing the fetus and taking the cool picture. So the challenge with ultrasound, though, is it takes a technician to stand there and jiggle the little device to be able to get to the point where you can see things. So the folks at MIT have created this little patch that you can wear. And it's not quite wireless yet, but you could just imagine that it might be. And you essentially put this patch on your body, and it does the ultrasound while you're walking around, maybe while you're at home, so that the researchers can see what in the world's going on with inside your body in real time as it's happening. And you don't have to be laying on the table with the technician squirting gooey gel all over you. So it's not ready for prime time yet, but I have to imagine that particular technology is going to have a lot of uses in the medical field. So really encouraging to see them getting to the point where they're testing that in the human world.
Does this have a wide range of? I mean, I'm talking about in relation to the size. It's the size of a stamp.
Yeah, it's the size of a stamp.
Big?
And it at the moment, my understanding from reading the scientific papers on this is that they haven't quite got the Wi-Fi connected yet. But you could picture it it's not too terribly hard to put a Wi-Fi transmitter into all kinds of different things. And so as long as you have a powerful enough signal, you could be detecting what's going on with the ultrasound picture. Maybe maybe you've got a lung injury, but you need to be up and walking around, or maybe it's intermittent, or something's going on where you might just want to have that on and take a full on scan for a while, for a couple of hours at home, without having to sit on the on the ultrasound chair. That could wirelessly transmit to a receiver in your house and then upload the images back to your medical providers at the hospital or tertiary medical center, and they could read them and figure out what's going on with you.
Cool. That's pretty cool. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so these are what I find useful for technology.
This is what I whenever James is on the show afterwards, Mike's like, oh, that's what technology is good for. Instead of us talking about people getting hacked all the time.
There's so many. I mean, I sometimes come across as a technophobe, I think, but I find some of this to be absolutely mind-bending.
Yeah.
That we even bother to
talk about this. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, here. This is a great one. In August 3rd's edition of the journal's Nature, it seems a team has developed a cell-protective fluid to organs and tissues. The researchers restored blood circulation and other cellular functions in a pig a full hour after its death. Is this finding a way to extend the health of human organs during surgery with this new technology?
Yeah, absolutely. The folks up at Yale have really pushed this forward. They're not the first ones who have experimented with how do I replicate what we see in nature, where somebody, like you hear about people falling into the ice water or into the frozen lake, and an hour later they pull out and get resuscitated. Where if the same person fell into the warm ocean down in the Caribbean, they'd be dead in like 3 minutes. Because if you think about what does death really mean, like in the physical biological sense, not in the metaverse sense or in the spiritual sense. But if you think about what death really means, it's the breakdown and ceasing to function of your cells. And that happens at various rates once you stop having blood pumping through your body. And so if you can take the cell and be able to slow down the rate of death, you can resuscitate folks after long periods of time. That's why they take really seriously injured people when they put them on ice to take them to the hospital, because the cold will help preserve the cells. Well, what the folks at Yale have figured out is hopefully some method to do that without the cold element to it, as be able to inject this particular compound into a person who's been deceased, maybe seriously injured, maybe they were injured on the battlefield, maybe they fell off a cliff, who knows? But if somebody has passed away suddenly, and they otherwise would be able to be resuscitated, you give them some of this new compound, and it protects the cells from degrading, so that then you can recover the body and get it going again. Huge implications for all manner of different battlefield emergency research. Probably not much use in the metaverse. I think maybe you just have to do Control-Alt-Delete in the metaverse, but it has that same
Pause.
Sort of.
That's what my escape button does. It
pauses you.
It pauses you.
Okay.
So this is really just a chemical torpor that it puts you in, right? Is that what I'm getting? That it puts you in a chemical torpor and it keeps the cells from degrading?
Yes. That in a nutshell, yes. It will keep certain types of cells, certain types of organs from degrading after what we would normally consider death.
So I assume that they haven't figured out how to get it to spread throughout the body yet, because wouldn't it take circulation to spread this throughout the body?
Yeah, so you can inject it into certain organs that are critical for resuscitation. My understanding is they're doing this in large animal models, and you can be able to get it into certain spots in the body.
Okay,
I mean, it's not this pink
fluid that you put in, and all of a sudden you're still moving after you're dead, but it's going to go to certain areas.
What pink fluid is this?
Well, isn't that in that sci-fi movie? I swear there's something where you come back. No, never mind.
The Abyss has something where you breathe some oxygenated liquid that's pink. I don't know.
That's what it is. I think it was from that.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. Thank you.
Hey, no Star Trek.
One last thing on this. One last thing on this
Yale.
This Yale interview.
Yep.
They haven't entered human trials yet, so they're still doing this in large animals to test on how this works in a replica of a human using a large animal as a model. And just that's pretty common in research, that you'll start off working in animal models to understand how the biology and the physiology of the particular compound might work, and then you move it into humans when you've established enough background to know what you think is going to happen. Then you take it and experiment on humans. It's kind of hard to do this in proactively on humans, because you don't necessarily want to anesthetize a human in order to test this out. So you'd have to.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
He wasn't really all the way dead yet. He's only halfway.
He's only mostly dead.
That's right. It's okay. All right. So last question, and then we're gonna have to break. There's a new technology that hopes to improve lung cancer detection in Charlotte County, Florida. Tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, so if you're at all familiar with stents for hearts, where they go up inside your leg and they go up in your heart and they can look around inside of there, there's a company that has developed a machine that can do that for lungs, and essentially that's a device where you can go down into somebody's lung and take a look at what might be showing up on an X-ray as a potential lung cancer nodule. You take a scan of your lungs; they got little white spots all over them. And you want to be able to figure out, okay, what are those white spots? Are they benign? Are they cancerous, et cetera? And so right now, it's really hard to do that. The only way to really reasonably take a lung biopsy is to do surgery, where you go in there and it's kind of invasive. This device goes in and they can look with the camera at what's going on. And then the next phase of the device is going to be able to go out and grab a little piece of whatever the little white spot is to take a biopsy. Probably the most interesting part of this article is that this is the only device in the entire state of Florida, apparently, that can do this. And so one would have to question, why don't we have these devices everywhere else? Because it really seems like this would be a super good idea. And it highlights some of the challenges that hospitals have with having all of the best and most recent equipment. Sometimes you do have to shop around just a little bit to see where some of these life-saving devices might be located and go travel there.
That makes sense.
So that has to be something that's very, very small to travel around in your bronchial tubes, right?
I would expect so.
It was microns in measurement, so it was able to go down into your lungs, out the airways, and like travel around to the little nodules in your inside
like
your
inner
lungs.
space. You ever see that the inner space?
Yeah, we're coming up with all kinds of movie references.
That's right. All 80 references.
That's
all right. All right. So James, thanks for being on the show. Next time, we're going to talk about brain cells in a lab dish learning to play Pong. I forwarded that this morning.
Yep.
That is going to be a great story.
Yeah, this is that creepy Frankenstein story.
That is. It's pretty cool. All right, James, I love having you on the show, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to getting you on by next month to answer these questions and more.
All right, always a pleasure, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Have a great day.
Bye, James.
Enjoy the rest of the whiskey bottle, and make sure that when you do start mining your claim in the metaverse, if you strike gold, just remember who brung you.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get right on that.
That ends our segment, Ask the Experts with James Riddle. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time to enjoy a little whiskey on the side, as we'll be doing it during the break. You're listening to TechTime Radio with your host, Nathan Mumm. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you ever heard of turbo debt?
No, what is that? Something to get me into debt faster?
No, turbo debt is not to get you in debt faster. It's to help you get out of debt. Do you have over $10,000 in credit card, personal loans, medical, or payday loans?
Of course I have debt. That's the American way.
Au contraire, mon frere. Turbo debt will give you the option to break the debt cycle and start putting money in your pocket.
That's awesome.
Over 70% of Americans die with credit card debt. Do not let this happen to you. Turbo debt will give you an option to break the debt cycle and start putting money in your pocket.
That's awesome.
If you have over $10,000 in credit card debt and personal loans, medical or payday loans, they can help. Go to turbodebt.com/techtime. Again, that's turbodebt.com/techtime, all capitalized, for a free consultation today. TurboDebt is a proud sponsor of this week's episode of TechTime Radio.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right, Mike, we're going back to November 6, 1980. IBM and Microsoft formally signed a contract whereby Microsoft will create an operating system in development for the IBM PC.
Dun, dun, dun.
During the summer of 1980, IBM was originally interested in licensing the popular operating system, but was unable to come up with an agreement with Digital Research Labs. That led IBM to ask Microsoft if they could develop an operating system similar to the CP-M. Microsoft was already working on one when IBM came and asked them regarding the basic programming language. And essentially, this was called QDOS, a quick and dirty operating system. Now, Microsoft suggested to IBM that QuickDOS could be the IBM's PC operating system, but IBM asked Microsoft to continue using their operating system and license it for further development, which led to the contract on November 6, 1980, that allowed Microsoft to sell their operating systems to other hardware. Now, this is the key here.
This is the deal with the devil right here.
This is it. So IBM never thought software was going to be important. They always thought that they had hardware. They didn't want to spend time in developing software, so they figured that was just kind of something in the side that they didn't have to worry about as long as they had the best hardware available. This guy by the name of Bill Gates and others, it wasn't just him, it was many others also, said, you know what? We think that this software is more important than the hardware, other companies can create hardware, but if we control the operating system, we control the computers.
I guess this is kind of like George Lucas getting merchandising rights on Star Wars.
Like Star Wars toys, right? Yep, and getting it all back. So essentially, this is how we know technology today. The company created MS-DOS, which everybody's familiar with, and essentially IBM was no longer able to have the corner on hardware as many other manufacturers decided to build computers also.
Dun, dun, dun.
And Microsoft is one of the leading companies to this day because of that simple information, a minor adjustment in the clause that said that they were able to sell software to other hardware vendors. That was This Week in Technology. If you ever wanted to watch some Tech Time history with over 2 years of videos, podcasts, and blog information, you can visit techtimeradio.com and watch our older shows or join the Tech Timers Facebook group led by Gwen Way, who's going to be joining us up next. After the commercial break, we got our Mark's Mumbo Whiskey Review, and we have a special Gadgets and Gear. We'll see you after that.
TechTime Radio is brought to you today by Nutility, the platform that makes utility management seamless by selecting your service providers, splitting a single bill amongst roommates, and then shutting off your service when it's time for you to move out. Nutility reviews your preferences and sets up all the utilities for you. This provides you with the best local provider in your service area. It's much easier than splitting up your bills between roommates. No more late Larry, not being able to get to you on time to make the payments, and no more Venmo charges or PayPal charges. One place to do your billing so that everybody pays on time. Now, how can you use this great service from Nutility, you ask? Aha! Well, you can absolutely get it now and get 3 months for free. That's correct. If you go to Nutility.com, again, it kind of sounds like utility, but it's Nutility.com. Use the tech code 3, and again, that's NUTILITI.com. Get your first 3 months for free using the code TECH3. From experts in technology to an expert in whiskey. Now is our segment for you whiskey connoisseurs. Welcome to the Mark Mumble of the Week.
All right, are you ready for this, Mike?
Yeah.
I met my wife when she was a whiskey maker, and I love her still.
Wait a minute. What's the day?
Today is September 8th, and it's Abbott and AIDS Punster Day, which comes to us with poor jokes and terrible puns.
Oh.
All right. It's a celebration dedicated to laughter and make each other laugh with jokes, puns, and pranks, no matter how bad. We should call this National Nathan Day.
I don't know about that.
Mark, that was not so nice.
You know how a joke becomes a dad joke?
How's that?
When it becomes a parent.
All right, here we go. Mark's mumbles. The name of Lindy has been synonymous with the business of whiskey brokering for generations and has a trading roots dating back to 1904. The Lismore range of Speyside single malts and blends was originally named after the Inner Hebridean island sandwiched between Mull and the mainland. Although 2 illicit stills have since been found on the island, there is no record of legal whiskey distilling ever having taken place. All right, so this is our Lismore single malt whiskey. What are you thinking of it?
Oh, I like it.
You liking it so far?
Yeah.
I think, Mr. Miller, what are you thinking about this?
It's very slowly building on me.
It's building. I mean, you were anti. When I came on in the studio today, you were like, "This is going to be like the worst whiskey. I hate this whiskey."
There was a lot of red flags when I took a whiff of it before I drank. It's like, oh, there's that reminiscence of like that harsh bitterness that I typically get from a Scotch. So I was really kind of thumbs down at the beginning, but that's starting to change.
Yeah,
You're not a Scotch guy, are you?
Nah.
All right, well, here we go. Let's get ready now to start our next segment.
What's new in our gadgets and gear?
Hey, all right, we got Gwen Way joining us on the show. Gwen, welcome to the show.
Glad to be back. Slightly disappointed that I'm not there for the Scotch because, unlike the other Nathan, I am a Scotch girl. So.
Oh, this is good stuff too. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
The bottle was halfway empty before we head into the studio today.
I feel like the bottle was pretty full before you got to the studio.
Oh, a little bit early pre-studio work. All right, well, Glenn.
And now it's going to be empty before you leave.
That's right. We got some scandalous news going on in Kickstarter with our last gadget that you had on. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. We spoke about Luna a month ago, and everybody was really excited about this cute little robot. We're still excited about it, but there are some things that may necessitate changes on their part. They have basically been served with a copyright infringement, based on robots Vector and Cosmo. Apparently, the expressions and the sounds that they make are the exact same as Luna. So they're either going to have to reprogram or they may have to just kind of give it up and give everybody their money back.
All right, so if you invested in that hypothetically,
can you copyright a facial expression?
I don't know. So I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
What was that, Gwen?
But yeah, for robots, they actually do. Yep. I said for robots, you actually can copyright the expression based on what shape their features take during an expression.
Oh, there you
go.
go.
That's going to make things problematic in the future.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about our new thing. It's the SuperBase 5, the first plug-and-play home energy storage system.
Well, you're really excited about that.
This is awesome.
It is actually really, really cool. So there are a couple of things about this that I love. First of all, if you're a newbie like me, you don't know exactly what you want, they actually have a tool that you can go through and say, I want this for my home, my RV, or for emergencies. And they walk you through figuring out what size battery you need, what kind of connectors you need, all of that good stuff. So you can be sure that you're backing at the right level.
Okay, explain to me what this is first. What are we talking about?
So SuperBase actually allows you to basically save energy. It's a battery system. You can connect it to solar panels. You can use it to charge EV vehicles, all kinds of cool stuff. So this is providing backup energy. It's a generator without actually needing gasoline or anything like that. And it can also store solar energy. It can charge anything in your house that uses electricity. Especially
it's like a big battery bank. It's a big battery bank that you don't have to charge with gas, and you can charge it through many different. So if I want to electrically plug it in and charge it, I can. And then I can take it with me, and I can use it remotely.
Okay.
But this is kind of the difference between solid state batteries and hybrid state batteries, and this is kind of the new technology, very much as what you would see in like a Tesla car, high-end battery type of compact. Instead of it being built just for a car. They're now moving it for your home or remote item that's available there.
Okay,
exactly.
So go ahead.
What was your
I was
question?
going to say most new build homes, so new construction, are leaning into the electrical and moving away from gas, which means this is going to be even more functional and necessary in the future.
Yeah, I sure could have used that this weekend.
What was that?
A lot of people could have.
With that
the
storm,
big storm
that
that came in?
through
Yep.
and blacked out a whole bunch of places.
All right, tell
including
people
me.
where they can find us and how much does it cost, Gwen?
All right, go to Kickstarter.com and search for Super Bass. It's the first thing that comes up. That's Super BASE. Very special. Otherwise, you get a musical instrument. Right now, you can get the early bird. The small bundle is sitting at about $2,700, which is an excellent deal. And it is good until the 19th of November. So
All right.
jump on in there.
All right. Thank you so much for joining the show, Gwen.
Thank you.
We'll have a talk to you later. Gwen, I enjoy her so much for being a part of
Hi,
our
Gwen.
engineering team that helps each week put our show together. All right. Well, we're going to move right now into our technology fail of the week.
We are out of time. Congratulations. You're a failure.
Oh. I failed, did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
All right. Real simple here. Tesla recalls 40,000 vehicles over a potential power steering failure. Certain 2017 and 2021 Model S and X Teslas could potentially experience a loss of power steering assist if you hit a pothole or drive through rough roads. The firmware release updates the calibration values of the vehicle, but if you do not get it, then you have a chance of hitting a pothole and having your wheel veer to the far right or far left upon hitting. So, to make sure that you have the over-the-air activation firmware that upgrades the 22.36 from October, make sure you go visit any of your Tesla service centers so you can make sure that your firmware has been installed. Well, that's going to get us right now into our Mike's Mesmerizing Moment.
This is Mike's Mesmerizing Moment, presented by Story Coffee. Visit storycoffee.com.
All right.
What am I going to talk about today?
So I got a question for you. You have a Windows 10 PC, right? We didn't get to talk about this completely on the last deal. Why have you not upgraded to Windows 11?
I don't need to.
Okay, and why is that?
Well, because my tech friend says it's a bunch of bogus pile of poo.
Okay.
And it is unnecessary too. One of my computers is not capable of upgrading.
It's not capable of upgrading. So you realize if you did upgrade to Windows 11, every single time you would go down to hit the start bar to close your Windows, you know what it would come up with now? An ad to sell you OneDrive memory that is available there. So essentially, OneDrive is your backup area. If you go and click on it,
that makes my choice that much easier.
So Windows 11, all these ads are now coming on up where they put it in the File Explorer, where they put it in all across the whole operating system itself. So Windows 11 is like bloatware advertisement for Windows when Windows 10 works sufficient for everything that you need to have taken care of.
Okay. All right. So what's your question?
So what are you going to do in the next couple of years? Are you going to upgrade or are you going to stay what you're at?
Well, I personally cannot stand intrusive advertising things. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. I hate junk mail that comes to my physical address. I hate pop-ups that come up on my web searches. I don't know why we persist in allowing it to happen, but that's just sort of human behavior. That we kind of, it's just something we have to live with. I don't want my computer constantly prompting me to buy other stuff for my computer. Okay. So I'm going to stay with my thing that works until they create it so it doesn't work, and then I'm forced to go up to the next grade, which is going to happen at some point because that's how we are currently coerced into buying things.
All right. Okay. That makes sense. All right, let's get our whiskey review for the Lismore Single Malt Whiskey, 80 proof, $26.95. Mike, what are you going to give it?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. All right, Mr. Miller?
A surprising thumbs up. It doesn't really change my perspective on Scotch quite yet.
Okay. And I'm going to give it a thumbs up also. I thought it was a very smooth taste. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, Mike, we're about out of time. This ends our episode. Now, you can always go to TechTime Radio and click on our Be a Caller and ask a question on technology. And it's our talkback recording system. This is the newest thing for radio. So go and talk back, ask us a question, and we'll answer it on the air. You can also stay connected by signing up for our newsletter. And also, you can go to TikTok and download our app. Now, remember, the most important part of the science of tomorrow starts with the technology of today. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/TechTimeRadio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe